Okay.
All right. Hey, everyone. I'm excited to be able to share with you all on today. I have my sister, my soror that I met about 3 years ago, Dr. Kelsey. And so today, I talk a lot about, mental health, taking care of yourself, self-care. I talk about mind, body, and spirit wellness. So today, we're going to focus on your physical health and why it is important for you as a woman of God, as a man of God, to take care of yourself physically. Because a lot of times we talk about, I'm going to do these things, and we know that God is a healer, but it is up to us to take care of our temple as well. So I'm excited to have Dr. Kelsey here. And so I will let her introduce herself. She is a certified health coach. So just welcome, Dr. Kelsey.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah, for having me. I appreciate it. And I'm just thankful that our paths crossed a few years ago. So I'm happy to be here with you today. Hello, I am Dr. Kelsey. I am a certified health coach. I am also a professor. I teach public health at a local private institution. And so I have actually been in the field of health education and public health since the age of 14, believe it or not. So that's when I knew that this was something that I wanted to go into. So my areas of experience have changed over time, from HIV/AIDS and prevention of that to cancer prevention and control, diabetes awareness. I've worked with churches to help them develop health ministries. So fast forward to where I am now, I am actually teaching up and coming public health students about what it's like to work in the field, why it's a meaningful field, especially when we're looking at prevention of chronic illnesses that we're seeing that are topping the charts, especially among people of color.
Yes, and one of the things that you said, you have basically made a transition into doing health coaching now. You have your own personal health coaching business that you're currently building, and you are the author of a book as well. So, you've had a lot of background working, with helping students, to be able to get to that level, helping churches. So what particular area do you like to focus on now, or you feel like is your calling to work to be able to help people to be able to live healthy physically? So what area are you in now?
So what my interest right now is prevention of chronic diseases, because many times when you hear of people who are passing away, especially at younger ages, they are passing away many times of chronic illnesses that could have been prevented, like your high blood pressure, your hypertension, your different cancers. And there's some things that you can do to reduce your risk of cancer. So as I have grown in this field, my interest has brought me to a place where I'm very interested in helping young, middle, and older adults to help prevent the onset of chronic illnesses.
Dr. Kelsey, one of the things you said is very important, and it just sparked something in me, because a lot of times people will say, okay, I take my medication. And when you talk about prevention, but people most of the time think about health and wealth. They think about weight loss. They think about, trying to lose weight. So what are your thoughts on that?
Thank you for that question. So one of the things that, people have to understand is if you want to lose weight, it's not going to happen over a period of time, because more than likely the weight didn't come on overnight. And so it's a process. And it first starts with the mind. The body follows the mind. Everything that we do, when we have to plant that seed in our mind ourselves first. And a lot of times, people like the quick fixes too. So I'm sure you've heard, we're in a microwave generation where people want things to happen quickly. Mm-hmm. And that may not be the case. So it takes dedication, hard work. But with weight loss, it also takes discipline too, and making those right decisions, making those right choices.
Yes, and it talks about, when you talk about, it's a lifestyle change. It is a thing wherein you say, okay, I am making a conscientious decision to begin to shift my life. And like you said, it starts in the mind first and the mind will follow. And many times people will think, well, you know, we're people of God, because a lot of my people will be like, you know, I pray, you know, you're talking about prevention. How can I do that? You know, you said, okay, we used to this microwave society. I could do a quick thing of, I can go to Burger King, I can go to McDonald's, I can go somewhere quick and get something quicker. And when you're talking about lifestyle change, like, what is that? What does that entail?
Yeah, so it takes planning. So again, it takes discipline, it takes planning. You know, when you go to the grocery store, first of all, don't go hungry because everything looks good. That happened to me a couple of weeks ago, but I was at Whole Foods, so I was around some more healthy choices. But you know, make a list, and it also keeps you from spending more money too. So make a list. Like a lot of times, even for me personally, I'm a planner, so I like to know, what am I going to eat on Sunday? My mom and I talk about it on Wednesdays. What are you eating on Sunday? And we'll go through our list. But now, as I'm about to transition back into the academic setting for the fall, now I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to have for lunch during the week? And so, you know, making those plans, putting that in place, and you know, searching out, you know, what resources are out there. What are some, you know, some people might say, well, I don't like salads. You know, I don't want to eat like a rabbit. Well, there are other healthy choices too. And even if there's a time where you can't make a lunch and you have to run somewhere quickly, there are some healthy choices on the menus. You know, even if you go, McDonald's has a salad. You know, Chick-fil-A has salad. So you can get the grilled as opposed to the fried chicken that comes on their salads. So just kind of being intentional about the changes, swapping out the sodas with water, you know, just so even small changes will have a big impact and a lasting impact over time.
Right. And a lot of times we want to be able, like you said, you want it quick, and you think about, you have to do a complete overhaul. And I know for me, I had to begin to take minor changes into organic foods. And now I've noticed that once I began to start doing that I began to have more energy. Of course, the organic food does not last as long, and it's going to cost a little more. But like you said, prevention, I'd rather pay $5 extra, $2, $3 now than to be having to pay for a doctor visit because I have been not eating as healthy. So like you said, it takes those minor changes. And then what I noticed is, once I began to start making those changes, me going back to that, it began to change my taste. I didn't want to go back because things began to be too sweet or, you know, too greasy. So when you think about a lot of people now, you know, with COVID-19, people have been stressed. A lot has been going on. What are some of the things that you may say that you have seen that may have come up or anything like that?
So one of the things that I've seen is that one, when COVID-19 first hit, the grocery stores were filled. I mean, they were going crazy, spending, you know, people posting about how much money they spent on groceries. And so, or pictures of their cart, and you didn't see the first green or, you know, any type of fruit or vegetable. So, you know, and I think that has kind of tapered off for one reason or another. But I've actually seen a little bit of both. I've seen people be more physically active, which is a great thing, whether it's because they're bored and want something to do, or that they are being intentional about maintaining a healthy weight. And then I've also seen the other side too, where people have not made the healthiest of decisions, but a lot of times people perish for lack of knowledge. So it could be just based on lack of education about what are some things that I can do to change out so that I can be as healthy as possible.
Okay, so what would be some suggestions that you would give someone who says, I want to make those changes, but I just don't know, you know, what would be the next step? So what would be my first step that you would recommend for someone to do?
So again, being intentional, even if it means you have to write down whatever your goal is for that day. It could be, if someone is used to drinking sodas or sweet tea most of the day, one small step could be, okay, instead of, maybe I'll start my morning off with a cup of water. For me, I always take a bottle of water up to bed, and that's the first thing I have to drink in the morning. So even small changes like that. Not skipping meals, because many times people say, well, I don't like breakfast, or I'm too busy to stop and have breakfast. But that oftentimes causes people to eat more during lunch or snack more before they even get to lunch. So making sure that you're not skipping those meals. And also, again, just making that plan. If you say, okay, well, look at your day, because sometimes some days, like many people, some days are busier than others. And so when you make a plan, you can say, okay, boom, tomorrow morning, I'm gonna make sure I have my breakfast. I'm gonna make sure that, I substitute one of my sodas with water. So again, those small incremental changes can be helpful. And again, I want to encourage people to not be discouraged when they have a bad day, because we all have bad days. But to make sure that you get back on track. And so, just staying encouraged, writing those goals down, revisiting those goals. And it also helps to have someone to hold you accountable, because when it's just you by yourself, it's like, when nobody's going to see that I, went overboard on fried chicken, so having someone that can truly hold you accountable and make sure that you are at least attempting your best at the goals that you want to achieve.
Awesome. And I want to, when you talk about, having a bad day, many times people feel like, oh my gosh, when you're talking about eating healthy, you're talking about, Michelle, you went organic. I have my little snacks, that I love to, so I have what they say a cheat day. I have my little, cheating time. So it's all about having that balance, not saying that you're going to be able to tip over and say, okay, this is what I'm not going to do. But a lot of times, and I want to really address the people of God, because one of the things that we often will talk about is God being a healer. We want him to heal from diabetes. We want him to heal for certain things. And we on blood pressure medication, but we're eating pork chops and we're talking about, we know we need to eat healthy, but you're putting in fried chicken in your diet. You have this high blood pressure, you have high cholesterol, but you're saying, well, as long as I take my medicine, I should be fine. And my dad is one of them. My dad is one who will be like, well, I took my blood pressure medicine. So what would you say to someone who has the mindset of, okay, well, as people of God, we pray, God heal. That's what he'll do. That's what he'll heal me. Only thing I gotta do is go to the altar and have them lay some hands, and then I can go back to that car and have
at the church.
And I know that I'm dealing with diabetes. I know that doctor has given me that, but I'm gonna ask for prayer for healing. But I'm going to go back and I'm going to eat my sweets that I want to eat.
Listen, I can't tell you how many times, especially in working with churches, that particular job I had when I was working with churches, that was the most fulfilling job I ever had, because one, I was around my people, and I'm used to that, and I can relate to them, and so it was it was exciting to work with them, and we could have some candid conversations like, okay, yes, God is a healer. He can do all things, but he also gave us some common sense too.
Right.
So, we can't say, okay, we at church, praising the Lord, and then, God, please, bring my blood sugar under control. And then, like you say, go home after service and eat half of a pound cake.
Right.
That sister such and such made.
Right.
She makes the best pound cakes.
Right.
So one of the things, of course, again, things are not going to happen overnight. And I'll just use an example. When I worked with one particular church in a rural area, they were used to certain ways of preparing their food. And so I had them do a health challenge, and it was a fruit and vegetable challenge. And they were all on board and working with their health ministry for a few years. There was a contact person. So we first started the challenge off on a Saturday morning, and she asked She said, can you come in and weigh everyone? Because sister such that wants such to know what she weighs. And so, me being an outside person, and I didn't know, I wasn't a member of that congregation, I said, sure. And so what we would do was track their weight over time. But more importantly, I would give them health tips throughout the week. They actually had logs, food logs that they could complete about what they have eaten for breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, snack. And so by the end of the challenge, many of them had lost weight. They had met their goals that they wanted to reach, whether it was, weight loss or I just want to eat healthier. And I remember at the end of the challenge, because of course in my field, we do a lot of evaluations to see what we can do to better our programs. And one of the evaluations came back, and one lady said that as opposed to when she goes to the grocery store, as opposed to buying chips and cookies, she now goes to the produce section. And so even those small changes, it means a lot, and especially if you can keep to those changes too.
Right.
So that was very encouraging.
Yes, awesome, 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 awesome. So what are some techniques, because you are a health coach, and we're going to talk a little bit about your book as well. She was amiss of saying that she was a published author as well. You all will have the link where you can purchase her book as well. But what would be some tips? You talked about mindset and shifting your mindset, and that's one of the biggest things that I talk about is having a mindset shift. So what would be a technique that you would use with someone if they come to you for services and say, for coaching services, and they say, okay, I'm ready? What would be the initial, just a sample of what you would do with someone when they have to start shifting their mind?
Okay. So of course, assessing where that person is in terms of their readiness for change. Because when we look at stages of change and where people are, for some people, they may be in pre-contemplation where they're not even thinking about making a change at all. But if they're in the contemplation stage where the light bulb goes off, the doctor says, hey, your blood sugar or your blood pressure is elevated. I don't want to put you on blood pressure medicine just yet. I want to see if you can make some healthy changes. So then I would, discuss with that person a little bit about where their mindset is and give them tips. So it could be, okay, do you have sticky notes? Or, you could take a scrap piece of paper and tape a reminder on your mirror. So you'll see it every morning when you go wash your face. When we're talking about the people of God, one of my favorite scriptures is, do not be conformed to the ways of the world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so, and that is in every area of our life. We cannot conform to the things that are in our immediate environment, because a lot of times that will keep us from moving forward to where we need to be. So, I would start off with that just to see and check in with them. Just to see, okay, well, did that particular strategy work? Asking them, what are some things that would motivate them? Some people may want to live a healthier life because they want to see their grandkid graduate from high school. So checking in with them to see what are those critical things, what are those things that you live for, in addition that are good reasons for you to stay healthy, not just for you, but our health also impacts our family members and others that we care about.
Right. Awesome. 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 So I would like you to share just a little bit about your book.
All right.
Thank you for, and let me just say this too. When you talked about, I just want to go back because you talked about that scripture, which is my favorite scripture, is what I love is be ye transformed, is Romans 12:2. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. When you're talking about renewing, that's a continual process.
Yes.
That's a continual growth. It does not stop. When you are renewed, it doesn't mean that you have arrived. It has to be a continual thing actively that you need to do to take care of yourself. I can go in and I start my day whenever I make sure that I exercise, and it does not take much, 30 minutes out of the day to go do a walk around the neighborhood or to do little things, whatever it is to get you motivated, whatever interests you as far as exercising, whatever interests you. Because I know for me going to the gym and having to do all those things, it was a lot for me. So I knew for me, I was able to get some things at home.
Mhm.
And I have to make myself sometimes say, okay, Michelle, you have waited a couple of days. Now you have to keep on a continual regimen to stay healthy. So it's a constant renewal. It's a constant mindset wherein you have to say within yourself, I'm going to make a choice. Because like you said, it not only impacts just myself, but who's going to be taking care of me. If something happened to me, I'm a single woman. It also impacts my parents, impacts my sister, it impacts my niece. Like with you, it impacts your husband. Because those things, you know, when we do not take care of ourselves, it impacts, it's a domino effect as well.
Right.
Mhm.
Yep, absolutely. Definitely a ripple effect. And again, it could be small changes. So if we have a goal of 30 minutes a day of working out, you can take 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon. It can even, if someone has a favorite show they want to watch on commercial breaks. That's one thing I used to tell people that I used to work with, especially in the small community. If you have to watch your show, and this was really kind of before like the DVR became a big thing. If you have to watch a show, you can take when you have a commercial break, that can be your exercise period too. So even small things like that. Or when I worked with diabetic patients and they were a little bit older, of course they're not lifting 10, 15, 25 pounds. So I would say, okay, get a can of corn or get a can of string beans and you can lift those. So it's those small things, that make a difference. And like you say, many times we have to think about the ripple effect. Who will this impact over time? Who, if I get sick at an early age, who's going to have to be my caretaker? And that's a whole nother can of worms because caretakers need that time of rest and recovery and renewal too.
Mhm. Yes, yes, because a lot of people deal with with stress as a caregiver. I know personally someone that's very dear to me that's providing care, and stress on top of stress because you're constantly having to give yourself to other people, and and not saying that you don't love, but sometimes it's hard to be able to have that balance when you are in that caregiver role as well. So that's like a whole nother conversation we may need to
Yeah.
have a discussion about soon. So I would like for you to just share, just a little bit about your book.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So last year, I developed this simple smoothies book. So drink your way to good health. So a lot of times the thought of people, like I said, with salads, and I've actually been in a situation before where, um, I've heard someone say, I don't eat like a rabbit, type of thing. And everybody has their preference. But for those who are willing to try, there are ways in which you can still get greens in that may not taste as um, delightful as other things, but you can mix items with it too. So for instance, today, and I love greens. I grew up on greens. But for instance, I made a smoothie this morning, and it contains just spinach, mangoes, and almond milk.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good way of getting your fruits and your vegetables in. You can drink your number of servings a day,
Yeah.
um, in addition to, just getting it in its true form as well. So this is a beginner's guide. A lot of the recipes are very simple, not a lot of ingredients at all. And so I released this last July. And so, a year went by. Last year was a crazy busy year for me as I got married, I moved. And so now I want to, bring this back um, and make people aware of it. And as a result, one of the things I did is I dropped the price on it. So there is an anniversary price that will be on my website, and I'll provide you with the link as well. But there are several smoothies in here, and also I include a food log. So in case you want to start to record the things that you're eating, there's sample food logs in the back as well.
Right.
and little tips along the way too. So I'm sure there's something in here for everyone to enjoy.
Yes, and I love smoothies because the things, like you said, most of the time with fruits that I normally don't eat, like I will not eat raspberries, blueberries, or those types of fruits normally. I normally don't do spinach, no. But once I put it in a smoothie, it's a way, like you said, you're able to create some ways wherein it's very tasteful and it's healthy for you as well. So definitely, you all get the book. You all ready to make some changes. And if you want to reach out to Dr. Kelsey, what is your website? Well, first tell us where they can get your book.
Okay, so my website, you can find the book on the website. So as soon as you go to the website, it'll be the first on the first page, and the website is easy. Doctor, no period in between, drkelsey.com.
.com, yes. And you, they can also schedule a consultation if they want to begin to start
Yes,
that as well.
absolutely. You can do that through the website as well. And Dr. Kelsey is Kelcy.
Yes, awesome, 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 awesome. So any last thoughts before we end today?
I'm also on Facebook, so feel free to head over to like my Facebook page, Dr. Kelsey, health and wellness coach / educator. So I am on there as well.
All right.
Thank you for the opportunity. Good health never goes out of style, and it's something that we always need to continue to talk about, especially in populations that are disproportionately impacted by chronic illnesses. And so, we always have to be each other's brothers keeper and each other's sisters keeper, and so making sure that we are on top of each other and helping us to live the best lives possible, because we're all called to a purpose, and so we want to be in the best shape possible, mentally, physically, spiritually, so that we can fulfill that purpose.
Yes, yes. Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Kelsey, for joining on today. As you all said, you all can get the book. She has an anniversary price if you want to get that. Also, if you're saying, okay, I want to make that next step to begin to start shifting my life, you can schedule a consultation with her on her website, drkelsey.com. And it's Dr. Kelsey with a K. You all will have the link as well. You can purchase the book and schedule a consultation. Thank you so much, Dr. Kelsey. I love you so much. Thank you all for
Love you
tuning
too.
in and watching with us today. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. And I can't wait to talk to you all soon. You all have a great week and be blessed, and always walk on purpose. Have a great day. Bye now.
Bye.